It's Mika. Today I'm going to talk about how I got my job as a product manager after college. We'll talk a little bit about my background as a PM and a little bit more about the product manager role, how you might differentiate yourself, what you can do to create opportunities to get a career in product, how you can fast track the product management experience to get a job in product today, how the application process is like. Let's get to it. First, my background. Here's a short clip about my story before I got into tech.
I'm mikareyes, I'm Filipino, I'm a woman of color, and yes, a woman of color trying to get into a predominantly male industry. I studied at Wesleyan University, liberal arts, non-Ivy League, non-tech theater school. I was not a STEM or computer science major. I studied economics and psychology. I had no prior network in the tech world. And lastly, I was an international student and hence needed sponsorship for my visa.
If you haven't checked it out, I talk more extensively about my story before going into tech in a previous video, which is linked somewhere on this screen. Okay, so what do PMs actually do? Here's a quick meme. Product manager does not manage anyone, contrary to the title. A product manager literally manages the product. That means shepherding the engineers, the designers, the financial analysts, biz ops folks, data scientists, CEOs, execs, directors, dogs, cats, moms, dads, everyone, anything to build and ship and put the product out there for users. Their goals are to drive user value or drive business outcomes. Why did the product manager role get so prestigious and popular in the tech industry in the first place? One is that it's a mix and a hodgepodge of many different functions all in one role. The generalists that had no clue what they wanted to do after college now have an option for a new job right after college besides consulting. Second is that product managers have a lot of say in pushing out what can and should be built. Third, an associate product manager might start off with upwards of $100,000 per year. A product manager might have upwards of $120K to $150K per year. And a senior product manager might get close to or upwards of $200K per year. The role sometimes has an equivalent of software engineering or data science salaries and is one of the most lucrative tech professions in the Bay Area. And the reason that's so and why it's so competitive to get a product manager job is that being a PM is a lot of power but a lot of responsibility because you have a direct impact in business outcomes. Now, the next natural question is, how do I get a job in such a competitive space? How do I differentiate myself, especially if I literally just graduated from college or I'm shifting careers? It's a good question. First, the number one thing to nail is the reason why you're getting into product in the first place. What's your story? What's the motivation? Being a PM is no joke, so you want to make sure that it's something you really want to get into and that you're intentional about the reasons why. Also, as a PM, you have to be good at communicating the user story and wowing an audience around the vision of your product. Now do the same for yourself. Craft a story, wow your interviewers and your audience, and get the job. And here's mine. I don't memorize it, so you should just read it. You can pause. Yeah. Second is to demonstrate how you're already doing the work required of you as a product manager. How? Continue watching. What can you do early on to prepare yourself for a career in product? I like to divide product management into 5 buckets. Number 1, engineering. Number 2, design or product sense. Number 3, business. Number 4, data. Number 5, leadership. If you're already spiking in any one of those areas, perfect. That becomes your superpower getting into product. Leverage that. But when you're starting out, you're gonna wanna fill some of the holes in those buckets. You're not majoring in any of these focus areas. You're not working in any of these professions today. Not an excuse. When I was starting out, I was an econ and psych major, and I was far from fulfilling all of these buckets. So I created opportunities for myself. For engineering, I sat in my friend's summer CS classes, built my own portfolio website from scratch, took 2 CS classes, enrolled in 2 CS online courses, got a fellowship in a coding bootcamp, and coded a few websites and apps on my own. For design, I worked on portfolio projects for mentors, understood the process of human-centered design and applied it to my own work, taught a class on design thinking, got an internship as a UX designer, talked to 50+ designers to understand their processes, and did freelance design work. For business, I went through the HBX Core MOOC, wrote several product reviews on Medium for several different companies, went through dozens of business case studies, understood base business terms, founded a nonprofit and student organization in campus, and advised on-campus startups. For data, I took classes on data, particularly learning R, data, and SQL, worked on data analysis projects related to the Philippines, work on data projects with my professors, etc. For leadership, I started a nonprofit and school organization. I led different dance troupes. I led 2 different cultural identity clubs. I coalesced groups of people to work on different projects, and I started international online communities. Point is, you have no excuse. Create the opportunities for yourself. What if you needed a product management job today? 2 main pieces of advice that I'll give folks. Number 1, and I'll tell this to everyone that asks me, is build a product end to end. The best way to learn is through experience. You can fast track all of the things that I told you about the 5 buckets if you can find a problem in your community, find designers and engineers to work with, and build a product to solve that problem. Even if you fail, the point is you took the initiative to do that work and you learned a lot of things along the way. Second, if you're really strapped for time and want something a little bit lower effort, you can write. Start a blog, critique different products, write product reviews, write out product strategies. This shows recruiters that you can communicate and articulate product well, shows a little bit about your product sense, and also gives you a better brand online. Now, how's the application process like? I want to caveat that it's going to be quite grueling. If you're literally coming out of college or looking for a PM internship, I'd consider a lot of the associate product manager programs that are out there. They give a lot of structured mentorship around the product manager role, plus a community of others that you can express product manager feelings with. If you're 1 or 2+ years out, I'd look for entry-level product manager roles. They're not necessarily going to be in these structured APM programs, but they're still a good start into the industry. 3 tips that I give: do not apply online without a referral. Do not put your resume out into the ether of all job applications. You'll not stand out. There are better ways to spend your time, and that better way is to get a referral. Find connections to connections in companies, do informational interviews with people in those companies to learn more about the product or the culture, and get an into that company. Lastly, as mentioned earlier, craft your story. Develop some foresight into the vision that you want to see for yourself, and make sure you wrap all of your experiences in a cohesive story that you can tell to recruiters and hiring managers. There are many people, blogs, articles, and links to many more resources that I highly recommend. I'll put a link out into the description below. Be sure to check it out. Also, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. It's free. I also want to keep writing and creating videos around this. Let me know in the comments if there are any suggestions for videos and types of content you want to see around this topic or otherwise. Thanks for watching. Bye! Application process. Out of college. Ugh, come in with it.